Welcome to Monday Motivation. Today we're going to talk about goal setting. We are going to talk about goal setting, whether you want to set goals for the week, goals for the month, or even for the day. It doesn't matter. The same strategies work. So what I'd like to do is give you 3 tips today, 3 tips that are going to help you to set some goals and actually meet those goals. So, tip number 1, define your goals. Very clearly define your goals. Be very specific in your goals. Instead of making a vague statement, for instance, like, I want to grow my craft business, right? That's a very vague statement. Instead of that, let's rephrase that. And for instance, you could say, I want to increase my monthly sales by 20%. There's a very clear, actionable goal there. It has a number attached to it, and you can move forward with steps on how to meet that goal. Creating very specific goals will give you more clarity, and it'll give you more direction, and actionable steps will lead from having a very specific goal. So number 1, define your goals and be very specific about it. Number 2, this is tip number 2, break your goals down into smaller milestones, okay? Breaking them down will make them more manageable. It'll make your goals more manageable. It'll make them definitely more actionable, and it'll create a lot less overwhelm. So for instance, in that previous example, I want to increase my monthly sales by 20%. Great, very specific goal. Now what we can do is break that down into smaller, actionable steps in order to actually achieve that goal. For instance, so we say 20%, you could break that down into weekly goals then. So you want to increase maybe by $100 a week, you want to increase your sales. That way you're meeting that 20% goal. Whatever your number is, it doesn't have to be $100, but whatever the number is, break it down. So if you want to do 20% for the month, break that down into weekly. How much money do you have to increase by the week in order to meet your monthly goal? That way you have specific steps and you can put those actions into reality. You can make those happen then. Okay. So number 1 tip was define your goals and be very specific about your goals. Number 2 was break your goals down into smaller milestones. Makes it much more manageable. Number 3, this is your tip number 3. I want you to create accountability. And this is a hard one for some people. So accountability, what does accountability look like? I want you to, first of all, why do we create accountability in the first place? Accountability will make us more accountable to ourselves. And if we share that, if we make that accountability, if we make that real to somebody else, believe it or not, we are more in tune to please other people than we are ourselves. We will hold ourselves less accountable than we will other people, right? So if I share that goal, maybe you have a business friend, maybe you have somebody else that's in business, in a similar business that you, maybe it's a best friend, maybe it's a family member, somebody like that. But we don't want to let other people down. By nature, we don't want to let other people down. We'll let ourselves down, but we won't let other people down. So share your goals, whether you write them down, whether you put them in an email, whether you talk to somebody, make those goals accountable. One of the things that I've learned over time is that I have an accountability group that I talk to weekly. And if you don't have anybody that's in business with you or a similar business with you right now, write your goals down, email them to yourself. So at the end of the week, you'll receive that email and, okay, did I meet these goals? Whatever you have to do to be accountable to those goals. And then the second part of the accountability is track that progress. So if we go back to the first example, we want to, we set the monthly goal of 20%, right? And then we broke that down into smaller, more manageable milestones of weekly goals, like little weekly milestones. Go ahead and track that. At the end of each week, I want you to track how much more money you've made. That way you're on progress. So if you didn't meet that milestone in the first week, the second week, you got to bump it up a little bit, right? Because there's always ebbs and flows of business. So I want you to track it as you go, whatever the goal is, whether it's weekly, monthly, whatever. Make sure you're keeping progress and track it. Track it on paper, not just in your head. Track it in an email, track it in a spreadsheet, handwrite it on Post-it notes, whatever you got to do, track it. That way your accountability will be more real. So I hope let's go over the 3 tips real quick. We're going to very clearly define our goals, make very specific goals. We are going to break our goals down into smaller milestones that makes them more actionable and more manageable. And then we're going to create accountability and track our progress. That way we follow through. We're more apt to follow through with those goals. So I hope these 3 tips will help you. We always talk about Mondays, setting goals. So now here we are breaking that down. So let's go out there and create a goal for this week or for this month, and then break it down and make it accountable. I hope you find this tip helpful, and I'll talk to you next Monday for Monday Motivation.